Tak dengar. Macam dengar mic kat luar. Dia memang duduk kat situ.
Balik kat situ. Balik sebab dia call cakap.
Suara siapa? Suara aku.
Ni salah aku.
Kau punya dia. Share screen lagi tak? Kalau aku buka, dengar semua. Share screen kau macam tak ada kau share screen. Share.
Dah ada link YouTube.
Dekat YouTube. Nak link juga.
Copy letak dalam note boleh. Nak blast.
Lah. Share. Try study. Selukar. Okay, sekali lagi. Jeli sini rasa jeli.
Nanti kan sekejap. Kan sekarang kan korang tengah testing
Sekejap. Tengok. Kenapa?
Nanti okay, bila program dah start apa semua kita guna background ni macam papakan kat screen tu guna yang ni. Tapi time MC bercakap pin screen muka dia.
Muka dia.
Okay.
Kenapa tak boleh? Kenapa tak boleh? Okay. Satu lagi. Okay. Dia dah jadi kan? Kat sini dia. Lepas tu kedua tu tak ada apa lagi. Second. Ya, tadi ada rosak sikit. So aku tekan sungkuk dia. Kat sini je lah. Ya, depan ni. Depan ni. Dia buat sekali lagi. Jom. Awalnya tu memang jadi. Kan? Lepas tu jadi. Tak ada. Pakai dua. Dia pasang sini. Kira cuma ni pula.
Oh,
Dekat live ni tak ada.
tiba-tiba gelap. Sebab CCTV dah masuk. Jadi
kita menjulang, keunggulan terbilang, kemercu jaya kita usaha, UTM puncak letaknya, martabat keilmuan, cendekiawan beriman, cekal bersama takwa, menara cita-cita. Kami anak kandung UTM Ritme Bernaung, usaha kami bukti cintamu, kikau bersana ilmu, keazaman, perjuangan, takwa dan iman, ke arah kecemerlangan, pengajaran penyelidikan, penulisan perundingan, perkhidmatan kepada kawasan. Di sini kami berdiri, setia pada janji, bermaruah berbudi bahasa, UTM sanjungan bangsa, UTM sanjungan bangsa.
To begin with ceremony this morning, I would like to call upon Mr. Muhammad Ikhwan bin Muhammad Hamizi to recite the dua. Please welcome.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We start our dua with Al-Fatiha. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، حمدا يوافي نعمه ويكافئ مزيده. يا ربنا لك الحمد كما ينبغي لجلال وجهك وعظيم سلطانك. والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Oh Allah, please make it easier for us to study and teach. Give us benefits so that our devotional services involved in this program can be counted as pious deed. We ask your blessing to make this program success. We also pray to you so that the talent and abilities that you have given to us can be used to develop our society and country. Also, it can contribute the things of goodness and our religion. O Allah, verily we beg to you for lasting faith, a heart of devotion, beneficial knowledge, true confidence, good deeds, active and striving in matters of religion, health, and freshness, a perfect body as well as our seeds. Well, that is more than all human beings. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم والحمد لله رب العالمين.
Thank you, Mr. Muhammad Ikhwan bin Muhammad Hamizi. Our honorable guest, Ms. Putri Eliana Fikri, speaker for Module 1, Resume Mastery, Crafting Your Future, Mr. Muhammad Iqbal bin Ros Azhar, Mr. Muhammad Nabil bin Saiful Azrin, and Mr. Muhammad Ajmizul Husni bin Muhammad Sapwan, speaker for Module 2, Internship Experience, Sharing by Seniors. Community members of I2 Fest 25, participants of I2 25, and viewers on the online section. First and foremost, on behalf of the organizing committee, I would like to extend a big thank you and welcome to the opening ceremony of IET Industry Festival 25 or also known as I Squared 35, organized by UTM IET on Campus Club, University Technology Malaysia. Ladies and gentlemen, I Squared 25 comes again after its series continuation of the successful I Squared Fest program, in which it is a collaboration program between UTM IET on campus and companies to present the expertise of participants. I Squared Fest 25 aims to bring together students and professionals from various fields to share knowledge and insights on current issues and trends in the industrial sector. I Squared 535 is a platform that brings together the brightest minds, both students and professionals, in the field of engineering and technology. Our primary objective is to provide you with a unique opportunity to expand your knowledge, enhance your skills, and ignite your passions for the industrial sector. Ladies and gentlemen, to kick off our session on resume mastery, crafting your future, our first speaker brings a wealth of experience in helping professionals stand out on paper. So get ready to take notes and ask questions to craft your future with confidence. Let's give a warm welcome to Miss Putri Eliana Fikri. Please welcome.
Okay, hi everyone. Good morning. Can you hear me? I just checking first before proceeding anything.
Yes, Miss Eliana, we can hear you.
It's actually Iliani, but it's okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Never mind. Okay, so I would like to start our session this morning by giving a little bit of brief of myself. Good morning to students of UTM. And I would like to thank UTM for inviting me this morning to share my experiences in helping others doing resumes, cover letters, and also optimize their LinkedIn profiles. Well, I am an engineer with 8 years of experience and also the founder of CareerAid. CareerAid is actually a job helping platform which helps basically from A to Z. So they started with resume. We can help with helping writing resume review, cover letters, and also optimize LinkedIn profiles. Because some of the students or maybe even other candidates who searching for a job, they have LinkedIn profiles, but they don't know how to actually fill in every details. So whenever the recruiters or employers see their LinkedIn profile, they can see that the students or candidate is not really really into what they are doing at that time. So after starting my first job at a construction company, it's actually a startup company. So that's why I started to help doing human resource work because they don't have the specific appoint person to help the company to search for candidates. The company actually started with 3 staff, including myself and the boss. So the boss are looking for other candidates in construction industry like site engineer, project engineer, QS, and so on. So he asked me to help post the vacancies. At that time, I don't have the access to JobStreet. So I just posted the vacancies in LinkedIn, in Telegram, and also Twitter. Even for a startup company, they actually have a lot of applicants at that time, more than hundreds. So I started to see what is the good resume and what are the resume that the candidate just spend maybe like 5 or 10 minutes and they simply just send out to finish up their quota of job applications maybe that day. So during my time at that company, I see what is the importance of having a good resume and maybe a cover letter. Although my company at that time didn't directly request for cover letter, but the candidates who submit together their cover letter seems more interested in applying the job. So from there, I started Career 8 and up until today. So enough about myself. We're going to start about the first section of this morning's event. We are going to start with what are the things that are going to highlight your resume, or maybe we can say that your resume is a good resume, right? You maybe think maybe having every Canva template resume will say that your resume is complete. I cannot say that Canva template is something wrong, but you need to see the colors and also the fonts, and also what are the things that you're going to include in your resume. So the first thing that I'm going to include in what is the items that going to make your resume a strong one is, the first thing is it is tailored, which means that if, for example, you're going to apply for a sales position, although you're having a engineering degree, right? You are open to apply for maybe sales or maybe finance. So if you just put in your resume all your engineering background or engineering projects without even connecting your details with sales, for example, the resume may look good, but it's not going to attract recruiters because they can see that you are just one industry's focus. You're not able to connect your abilities with other industries. Like for example, myself, I am a manufacturing engineering graduate actually, but I joined construction industry ever since from my first job. I did have a few offers in manufacturing company, which actually going to work in factories, things like that, doing production, going to be production engineers, supervisors, and things like that. And then I was feeling maybe I want to venture into new industry, which is construction. Although at that time I didn't have any knowledge, much knowledge in construction because I'm not involved in anything during university or maybe during my daily experience or things like that. But I tried to find courses that I can join for free online, and then I just tried to include it in my resume, and then I got the call for interview. So you need to tailor your job application every time. For example, if that person is only going to focus like only in electrical company, you're going to have one resume. It's okay to have more than one, maybe up until 3. I don't suggest too many version because you might mix it up. So maybe one you can focus on electrical engineering, another one for mechanical engineering, just a little bit of difference during the job description, and also personal summary, and maybe during your projects, the final year projects, you can include that although you're an electrical student, you also have joined courses or doing projects for mechanical engineering. So that one will support your application every time. And aside from that, the second point is results driven, which I can see a lot of resumes that I've handled before. They always say that, okay, during my time in this company, in this factory, I have improved the delivery time of maybe a certain production line or things like that. They is quite general. They didn't include the numbers. Simply said, if even for your projects or maybe courses or final year projects, you can include the numbers. For example, you're going to say you reduce the delivery time by 25%. I suggest you don't lie lah for this. So you can use maybe small numbers like 10%, 25%, because you're going to be asked about this, because I already been there, because I am doing project for one of my previous company. So I said that, oh, I secured this project which is like 10 million and such. Then they ask, okay, so how can you get this 10 million? So they will ask it until you can answer during interviews. But so you're going to have the numbers, but also the facts. I mean the proof of how you achieve that. But I guess for students, it's not like they're not going to really drill you. So because they know you're fresh grad, right? But later on, when you maybe second year or third year of working, you're going to job hopping, so you're going to remember that. And then the third one of my point is, what makes your resume good is it is a well designed. Like I said earlier, Canva template is okay, but avoid too many colors, because I've seen before the candidate is applying for something that is quite rigid, like finance, but they include more than 3 colors. I'm not saying the font, I'm saying the template. So it's look like you're some graphic designer or anything, right? So it's not really proper. Maybe you can choose something like with blue and white, gray and white, so it's okay. But I strongly suggest, even though you're fresh grad later on, you try to search online for Harvard template, Harvard resume template. And during my time when I tried to send out resumes during my earlier stage of job application, you using this Harvard will likely land you more calls than using a Canva template actually. And the Harvard template is quite simple. It's easier to edit also. And then there's always a debate whether you want to put your picture or not, right? Some maybe you have heard before, or you need to put pictures. Some say maybe, oh, you don't need to put. As for me, it's really simple. If you're confident about yourself, just put it. I'm not saying that maybe someone like saying you're not pretty or you're not handsome, not things like that. If you like yourself, your personality, your picture, then you just put it. Because it's very subjective to people. Maybe, for example, that recruiter, oh, I don't want woman for this married woman for this vacancies, because for some reason they prejudice this and that, right? So maybe they, when they see you, they will like you based on only the picture, or maybe they don't like you. It's just, I think it's very subjective. So it's really up to you. If you really think that putting your pictures there will like boost your resume, then you can go on. If you're not going to put your picture also, the resume will be fine enough. So next one, you need to have a consistent font. I have seen before, because Canva have so many fonts that are pretty, right? So they will put the fonts that the header is one font, and then the subject is another font, then the below part is another font. Will be, even though the font is quite similar, but recruiters will see. Because I also have seen before, even though there's just a slight difference, but you can see the difference between the fonts in the resume, which means like you're not really serious in doing it. And then you need to have a modern layout, because I have seen before, maybe millennials, they have like this template where they did a very empty layout. They just list out everything from maybe like 20 years back of their time during their first work. They will just list out, and then we can see the difference between the resume that are just started to um, be done by Gen Z and the resume that is done by the older versions. So I think you just Google Harvard template resume, or maybe any resume that you can see that it is modern and clean cut. So next is, resume must be 1 or 2 pages. Maybe you can get confused with CV, but resume, especially for students that are applying for internships or maybe scholarships or maybe part-time, or only need 1 pages. I understand maybe your projects or anything is going to be 10 or 20s of project, but I strongly suggest you to pick the one that are the most important, or the one that can help you the most during the job application process. So there will be just 1 page for just fresh grad, and then 2 pages for maybe less than 5 years of working experience. Because more than that, you will be called CV, and you can also submit a CV, it's no problem. But the thing is whether the recruiter will look at it or not. And sometimes the recruiter will spend just 6 to 10 seconds to go through your resume. Because to be honest, I did the same, because I have like hundreds of applications at that time. And I just go through whoever like look professional and simple, concise, and then I will go through in depth what are they writing in the resume. So the one that have so many words and then even a paragraph in the resume, I will just skip IV first. So that's why I suggest you to have ideally 1 to 2 pages and keep only the relevant info. So for my next point is, you can see for every resume, we have a personalized summary, right? Or maybe you can say others will rephrase it to professional summary. That is also important. Although you're a fresh grad or maybe still a student, you need to have a simple and not redundant info in your professional summary. Because I can see during the resumes that has been sent in this event, the professional summary you normally write an undergraduate for UTM and having 3.92, for example, GPA, and then you already put the 3.92 GPA in your education info. So it is kind of redundant and unnecessary. So make sure in your professional resume, you just state whatever is not in your other infos, and you state what are the things that you want. For example, an undergraduate who is looking for internship opportunities in maybe manufacturing companies and any in finance or things like that. Just keep it like 2 to 3 lines. More than that, I don't think the recruiter will be interested to read, unless there's something else that is very interesting in your resume, like maybe for your picture or maybe your projects will list out a lot and they will read all the things in your resume lah. So that are the 5 points that I can say that is very important, and normally I can see candidates doing uh, mistakes here and there which lead to their last chance to be called, because resume is doing their work first before you entering the company. So if your resume didn't even make it to the recruiter's interest, so I think it's no point to even apply the job. And for example, if you're applying like 10 or maybe 20 of jobs using the same resume, like one resume, and then you're not getting any call, please do a resume review. Maybe you can ask your friend if you don't want to seek for professionals, or maybe you can ask your lecturers. See first what is the mistake in your resume. Stop applying like maybe 50, 80, 100 of jobs using the same resume and ended up getting no calls. But actually, I'm sorry. I want to ask these students that are with here today, is the final year student, is it? Or looking for internships? Or maybe both? But just because I want to know the resume later on, it's going to be sent like for a fresh grad or maybe for someone who is looking for internships. Maybe someone can write in the chat or
So, Miss Eleni, for
Mhm.
our viewers, we blast it to anyone. It's free for anyone to join, but we believe that there might be some or few students that are interested in internship or final year students that join with us today.
Oh, okay. Mhm. Thank you.
Welcome.
Okay, so like I said, for internships, I believe that you're maybe third year student, because during my time we did the internships during my third year, and then we come back for the fourth year doing final year project and then finish the degree. So I think during internships, you don't have much work experience unless you're really active in doing maybe part-times or things like that. Even part-times normally didn't really re connected with your degree, because I believe all of you are taking engineering. But you can also write it, but if you have too many part-times, like maybe you did part-time since your early age in high school, maybe you have more than 5, I don't suggest you to put all. Maybe you put the latest 3, because it's not really necessary to put all your experience which are not related to your degree. So next in our session this morning, we're going to see what is the common mistake that candidates will always do in their resume writing. So can you guess what are the most common mistakes that the candidates always do in their resume writing? Okay, I will give you one. The the one that I can see is that they are too generic or maybe too general. But I can say that for fresh grad, it's normal to have that. But sometimes during their experience, which is internships, or maybe they don't have any works experience, they don't even put the projects or maybe courses or certificates. So the recruiters also didn't know what are the things that the candidates have learned before. They just simply put their bachelor in maybe electrical engineering and things like that. So you need to put at least, if you don't have other projects other than final year, you just put the subjects that you have learned. Don't put all during your 4 years in the degree, but you just highlight the maybe 10 of the one that most difficult, like maybe control system, programming, things that will boost your profile. Because I've seen empty resumes that they didn't put anything aside from their personal infos, education, and also reference. So that will be too general for the recruiters to pick you also. And then there is no results. Like I said before, during the job description, work description, or also the final year projects or other projects that you have done during university, you need to put the numbers. Don't put just general verbs. So the recruiters will know you are more serious in all your projects, because because there are always someone that just hop on the projects, right? They just put their name and then they didn't even like involve in the project. So it's very common to see if someone who can write properly with detailed results, the recruiters will know that you're the one that doing the job in the projects that you have listed. So uh, I think another common mistake is that it is too much information. Like I said, someone maybe started working part-time during after PMR. I think it's the PMR right now. Or PD3. So they started to write, or they tutored, they being babysitter, things like that. It's not really necessary to include, because it is not relevant to your degree. So you can just uh, take out the not relevant infos and put out the one that can actually highlight your profile. Maybe someone will ask that I don't have work experience, I don't do part-time. So what should I do? What should I write in the work description? Actually, you can just skip it because you don't have the info, right? But you need to add your values, which means that you need to include all the events that you have handled, or maybe courses you have attended. You need to write it. So you cannot send an empty resume, because it is not going to help you. So next, the common mistake is a bad formatting, because I always see whenever someone use Canva or maybe Word, the small things like bullet points also is not aligned. So we can see what kind of a person you are, because we can see maybe you like to rush things, that you didn't like go through properly your own resume. Maybe you're someone who's clumsy, things like that. So look properly, and then maybe save, not maybe, you need to save your resume in PDF, because I have received resumes in Words before. So you need to have your resume in PDF and try to print it, because sometimes you use fonts and maybe colors of the fonts too light or things like that will also affect when your resume being downloaded. Because I can guarantee you that most of the time your resume will be downloaded, because it will be circulate in the company, because the HR will download your resume and then bring it to the hiring manager or GM or HOD, whoever who is going to be your superior later on. So the HR will present your resume to the hiring manager, and then if maybe the font is mixed up or maybe the colors is mixed up, it's not really going to help you even though your information is good. So next, please avoid, this one is a very common mistake that I'm looking for your answer just now. I've seen like most of the resumes that have been sent to me for resume reviewing, they always use cliche buzzwords. That's one thing. They use this buzzword to even like assess themselves. For example, right, they say, okay, what is your skills? Because normally we will write in our skills, we know Microsoft, we have learned MATLAB, CATIA, AutoCAD. Please do not rate yourself because I've seen maybe they said, okay, AutoCAD 30% out of 100. How do you actually know that? I don't think you can know every software that you have learned before you have this kind of marks, right? Unless you take exam for everything. But you just write down, for example, AutoCAD, and then next one you just write anything, any software that you have learned before. You don't need to write your advanced or intermediate because the hiring manager will always ask you during the interviews. Like for example, you write down, okay, C++. So they will ask, oh, how do you know C++ even though you're not a computer programming graduate? And then you will just say, oh, it is one of the core subject in my university. We need to learn. We need to take that subject also. So I've learned C++ for one semester and then I get maybe B for that. So you can always explain during the interview. You don't need to put your intermediate in such because it will always bite you back. Because I've seen uh, candidates where they simply put that, oh, they are advanced in this, they are intermediate in that, and then they will be asked technical questions on that. So when you cannot make the answer during the interview, it will be pointless. It's easier to say that, oh, I'm not really familiar to that, I just learned the basic. The same goes to language. But language is, most of us always know Bahasa Melayu and English, right? So it's not really necessary to put it. Unless your resume is really empty, then you can put. Because it's really common, it's really like well known. A Malaysian will know English and Malay. So I've seen before they write English fluent and then Malay is native. It's basically just stating out the obvious. So it's not really necessary. So that concludes the common mistake that I've seen in resumes. So after this, I think we're going to go through a few resumes that have been uploaded in the Google Drive. I think around 3 is sufficient. But before I go to that, I want to share a few stories where the candidate is a good candidate because I actually called him for interviews, but his resume is really not that strong. I just called him because I saw him living nearby of the office, so I just like, okay, think maybe I can give him the chance. So during my experience of being so-called recruiters at that time, I received a resume which is 5 pages long. So the resume is not really filled up with important information. It is actually being elaborated each of the, like for example, like I said just now, he studied AutoCAD and then he already work in one place which uses AutoCAD almost every day. So he put in the skills AutoCAD and then dash he just list out everything that he have done before, projects, and he said that, or during my time in this company I already use AutoCAD every day and things like that. So I can see his sincerity in doing the resume, but I don't think MNCs and GLCs will, HR will spend their time for that kind of resume. So I believe students will aim for big companies, but small company is also okay. Small company will allow you to learn more, because I started in a startup company and need to wear so many hats in that company. Need to do HR, marketing, aside from being an engineer. So I stayed for 3 years at that company because due to COVID, because during COVID there's no much vacancies. And then after COVID, I jumped into MNCs, and I can see that it is more detailed work. You don't need to do so many things at once, but you need to do the job in depth. So you need more focus because of course they need to have better outcome comparing to startup company. So from the first story, you can see that I know that maybe some of you have so many projects, you can maybe write up until 3 pages, but please don't do that. It's not really necessary. You just need to prepare well for your interviews, because during interviews you can say whatever you want to say, however long you want to stay during the interview, and just ace your interview. So aside from that, another story that I encountered is during an interview, because I saw a very good resume. I can say like maybe a perfect resume. So I called him for interview. And during the interview, I asked him about the project and he cannot answer. He just answered it very general. So I can see from there, the project might not even be his, or maybe he's the one that just joined the project to put his name. So please don't lie in your resume. Even though maybe, for example, because at that time they have vacancies in such a big company, so he really wanted to join that company. So he just said that, oh, I've been doing this, doing that, I have experience in this and that, and ended up he didn't even get the job and maybe being blacklisted from the HR because he's not what he write in the resume. So aside from that, I think we can go to the resume review. Maybe you can help me to share. The first one is, can you see? Oh, you can see. Nur Nazmi bin Norudi from the Google link. Is Nur Nazmi with us this morning? Let me see. I don't think so. But never mind, maybe we can learn from his resume. I hope Nazmi didn't mind since he is the one that sent it here.
or Miss Eliani, can you be one that share the screen because we can't access the Google Drive.
Mm, hold on. I think maybe because Afiq Haikal is the one that have the access.
Yeah, okay, Haikal.
He's not with us today.
Unfortunately, he's not with us today.
He's the president, is it? Hold on. I tried to because I actually can view, but I don't know whether I can download it. One moment. Mm.
So Miss Eleni, can you access the document? Because we have the PDF documents, so perhaps I can help to share the screen for you.
Maybe can get.
All right. Wait a moment. All right.
Okay. So maybe if you have time, you can help to share Hamdan Iyad also after this.
Okay, sure.
We will be having the session until 10:30, right? If I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken.
10:30.
Okay. So can you zoom it a bit? Zoom it like half of the page. Okay. So this one for Nazmi, he had a very good profile picture in this resume because I have seen before there's students or candidates who put selfie in a very bad lighting also. So having a good picture to put in your resume is very important. So 1 mark for that. And then next one is he already stated that he is taking mechanical engineering, I suppose. Hold on. He's taking mechanical engineering. That's why he put the title below of his name, which when you are applying job after you graduating, you will put mechanical engineering graduate actually. But I think mechanical engineer is also sufficient. Next to after having your first job, you already have your title, right? Maybe project engineer, maybe auditor, internal auditor, things like that. You can put below your name if you're applying for the same job. For example, like even me myself, I already tried to apply in vacancies for finance. So I didn't write any title details below my name because I want to put it open. So next one is his profile. Like this one that I said, he put the CGPA of 3.69, which is good, but it is already stated in his education, which is in his degree. So it's not really important to have redundant info. And then other than that, the experience in SolidWorks, MATLAB, and Python is good enough. But he didn't say that in this interview, what is he looking for? Maybe internships, or maybe he is a fresh grad already who is looking for landing his first job. Okay, so maybe Nazmi can add in his profile. And then the below part is the IC number. Never put your IC number actually, because if you are being called for interview, or maybe the hiring manager is interested in you, they will give you a form. During that form, you can put in all your details. So starting from the IC, date of birth, weight and height, and also vehicle license is not important. So you can take out from your resume. Okay, moving on to contact me. Okay, maybe you can rephrase that to contact or maybe personal info, which is sounded more professional. And for the phone number, is very good because you put the Malaysian code. And then for the email also is very good because I have seen ridiculous emails before. And also there's students who put their student email, which is you're not going to have access right later on. So never put your student email. Create a very custom email. Don't use the email that maybe you have for like 5 or 6 years, because that email will be like full with other things, maybe promotional marketing. So you might miss out important emails. So please make a new email. It's free, right? That is solely dedicated for job applicant. Next is LinkedIn, which is very good to put a LinkedIn profile, but first make sure your LinkedIn is not an empty town. Please fill in everything. And also you can have a customized email URL. LinkedIn URL, because I think for this he copied from the URL that he opened at that time. That's why it is very long. Or maybe to make things easier, you can put the symbol LinkedIn beside the in the icons, and then you just put your name that you use in LinkedIn. For example, this one I think he put Nur Nazmi Noruddin, so the recruiter can just search his name. Then for the address, please don't use detailed address like this, because it is not necessary for the recruiters or hiring manager to know your exact address. You just put Putrajaya. For example, if maybe you have a more specific location like Masai Johor, you can put it like that. Or maybe Shah Alam Selangor. So it's more than enough for the hiring manager to know, are you able to work in their company? Maybe you need to relocate, or maybe they want someone who's from that area. So you don't need to put such detailed address. And then going next to education. I'm not sure why Nazmi put first degree. Is he going to take a second degree? Maybe. If that's the case, then it's okay. But if not, I can suggest that he put that degree, just the word degree, and then the details like bachelor in electrical engineering, for example, bachelor in mechanical engineering. And then for the foundation degree, also the same, because we need to know during your foundation you studied in maybe physical science, or maybe there's also candidates who studied in law but ended up taking a degree in engineering. So you need to have more details here, which is, and then the university is fine enough. And then the CGPA is also fine enough. As actually, I wanted to just be frank. If your CGPA is below than 3, there's no need to put, because it can be something that pull down your resume. Even though maybe your skills or your project is good, but whenever the recruiter see that your CGPA is not doing that good, they will be quite turned off. So I'm not being prejudiced here, but that is the fact. So if your degree, your CGPA is 3.5 and above, you should put. And then for the secondary school also is fine enough. Maybe he can leave out the PT3 because it's not really necessary for the recruiters to know your info below than SPM. So up until SPM only, you need to share with the recruiters. Like for example, if you have achievements during your maybe UPSR, maybe your primary school, is always necessary to leave out. So up until PT3 is also good to leave out from your resume. Next is for the achievements. Achievements, okay, since he got dean list in most of the semester, is good to put, but if possible, put it into one page, because if you can see here, it is being cut. It can be left out for the foundation and also best students. It's best to categorize the same thing into one page. I believe he can still edit the template here. And then moving on to professional experience. For the professional experience, I think there's not much issues because he already put every details, like the duration from when to when, and then what did he do in each of the experience. Just another thing that maybe you can add on if you want. Where did you actually did your work? For example, like during the time at James Dyson Foundation, maybe it's in Johor or maybe it's in KL, because this can help to increase your flexibility. For example, like maybe this job you're doing in Johor, and then the next one you're doing in Negeri Sembilan. So the recruiter will see, oh, this guy can relocate, so he have no problems of, working here and there. So aside from that, I have no things to add on and professional experiences. So for skills and certificates also is complete. Like when I said just now, don't rate yourself. So he did this. And then he didn't include such cliches skills, like maybe saying himself is hardworking, a team player. That is something that is too often we see in the resume. So we don't think that you even know that you have other skills. Like for Nazmi, he said that he is good in problem solving, decision making, which makes it more interesting to put in your skills. So aside from that, he have many leadership and project management experience, which is good. It's just I think that the font is quite small. From the professional experience until the leadership, the bullet points, both, I think it's less than 10, or maybe 10. I think you can stick with more than 10, 11, or 12. It's better because you don't know the recruiter or hiring manager, maybe someone who is in his or her 40s or 50s. We cannot like squint our eyes to see. Like I know you youngsters can like read it from afar. So you need to make it more accessible to the older generations. So please check your font size. And then for the duration, he started with the most recent and then up until the one in 2018, which I think maybe during his high school. If in high school, it's fine. If in primary school, should take it out. And then volunteer is okay. For the references, you can have one or two. Don't have more than two, which actually the recruiters also don't want so many references because they're not going to call all. But if the company needed, he or she will ask you for more references. But for students looking for internships or maybe the one that just graduated, we don't really need much references. We actually need references for job workers that have been working for maybe 2 3 years or for maybe 10 years, because we wanted to know if he did something to his previous company, or maybe he had been not a very good worker at that previous company. So if for students and fresh grad, you don't need to worry much about your references, because sometimes maybe you don't have the lecturer's personal contact numbers, so you just put the email address is fine, because the company, if he really wanted, he will direct call your university and ask for the lecturers. Okay, so we have go through Nazmi's, which the font I commented before, and the color of the resume is fine enough. Although this is, I think, a Canva template, if I'm not mistaken, but we can see that it is very professional. So I have no issues on that. So you can continue to use this template. You just edit out, or maybe you can make it into one page if possible, because you can leave out the details in profile and you can make it more simplified there, and then you can remove the leadership to the first page if possible, but 2 pages is necessary, is fine enough. So next one is the Hamdan Iyad resume. Do you have that?
Okay, Miss Eliani. So the next resume for Hamdan, our technical units will share their screens for you.
Thank you.
Okay.
So this one, these 2 resumes that I have picked out from, I think, maybe 13 to 15 other resumes, because the first one, the Nazmi's one just now, we have a few comments here and there. I'm not saying it's not good. If the resume has been sent out to apply for internships or maybe first job, he will likely be called also, because he have included a lot of projects, volunteer, and also work experience. But there's thing that he can improve. For Hamdan here, I think this is a good resume. because of his template, first and foremost. And then, although his professional summary didn't have the title up there, but it's okay because it's very straightforward. We can know that he is describing himself in the paragraph below of his name. So this one also have redundant info, which is the CGPA, which is fine if he want to leave out or not. I'm just saying maybe you're finding like ways of reducing the words, or maybe you want to make it more simple, so you can remove the CGPA. And then here is basically, I think, the same sentence you can see for most of the professional summary. So later on, maybe after working 2 or 3 years, 5 years, you can make it more detailed, and then you can include your work title, and then you can make it more tailored, not too general like this. But if for students and fresh grad, it's okay, it's fine. So next is his address is also very good. He just put he stayed in Petaling Jaya, so the recruiters know he will be able to work in nearby in Petaling Jaya, or maybe he can like work in KL, Shah Alam. So he will call the candidates if he is interested. No need to put your house number and so on. And then the phone number, yeah, just this email address, because I'm not sure that you're going to be able to access your email like outside of the campus. But if you can do so, it's fine. But it's better to have a Gmail account, whether it's for internships or work application. Please put Gmail email address. It's better. Before LinkedIn, I think he have the shortened URL, which is better, which is make more simple and easy to access. So I think this student is going to apply for his is going to use this resume to apply for his internship. So it's very good to put the internship period, because that is the most important thing for the company to know when to when you can work at the company. So next is education background. I actually I actually think that this type of format is very good. So whoever wanted to screenshot or anything can do so, because it's very simple, but you can straightforward see, okay, where did he study UTM, and then what did he study? Okay, chemical engineering. So you can see, and then the dean's list also, you can see that he listed all the dean's list that he got, but you don't see it being very messy. So he just simply put that, okay, semester 2 and 3, I got dean's list. So it's very easy to see. So maybe Nazmi, from the previous resume, you can list down your dean's list award like this, if you want. Okay, so for the duration is also fine, because you don't need to put like, okay, I studied at UTM for 4 years. Okay, I studied at UMP SA for 3 years. It's not really necessary, because the recruiters can calculate for you. You just need to put it from when to when. And then for SPM is also okay. For his working experience, I think the work description that he put is very tailored, and it's very something that he put his heart into. And you can see that it's not something that he maybe copy pasted from the job offers, or because there's a lot of candidate who just copy paste the job description during the time that they applied for job, because that time company will list out what you should do, right? So they just copy paste into their resume. But different from Iyad, he write specific like infos and projects that he did during his, I think, an internship or maybe his work experience. Internship, supply chain intern. So you can see that he knew what he did during his internship. So this will more likely to intrigue the hiring manager to call this candidate. Aside from that, the leadership and involvement, I have no issues. I think, hold on. Okay, because I thought the line at the duration is not a line, but I think it's a line. Okay, please make sure everything is aligned. Don't make it like this line little bit inside and then the next line is outside, because we can see what type of candidate you are from that. So please make sure everything is aligned. So for the leadership details, I can see that during every event, he put what is the name of the event and then what is his role, which makes it very easy to see and to read, which I highly recommend. If someone wanted to do their resume, please use this kind of template. And then for skills, I also always use this kind of template, which you categorize what kind of skills. Maybe for engineering software, he lists out everything that he has learned before. He don't rate himself, which is good. And then for the computer skills, although we know that Word, Excel, PowerPoint is very basic, but it's okay to list down. And then for the language, like I said before, English and Malay is very common, but it's not totally wrong to put it. But he left out the core skills, which is like, for example, just now Nazmi put leadership. I think what is we put? I think things like that lah. Decision making. So it's okay to leave out that actually, because your engineering or maybe software skills are much more valuable for us engineering graduates. Software skills, especially computer skills, that too are the most valuable. So you don't need to say that, oh, I am hardworking, I am good at decision making. But if you want to include also, it's no problem. It's not as strong as engineering and computer skills. So for references, it's very detailed, which I also think is very good for Iyad, that he already said that both of the lecturers is from which faculty, and they have a contact mobile number, which make it easier for the recruiters to call if they really wanted the verification of this student. So I can see this Iyad resume as one of the resume that you can maybe download or you can screenshot as references. I'm not saying that Nazmi's one is totally wrong or it's not good. His one is also detailed and very good. It's just it maybe look a little bit lengthy at certain points, like his IC, his specific address and things like that. So we're done with resume review this morning. If you have any questions, you can proceed. I think after this.
So thank you so much to Miss Putri Eliani Fikri for those valuable insights and practical tips. And we hope that all our viewers might benefit from your sharing. So we are now open for Q&A session. So for the viewers, please feel free to ask any question in the comment section, and I will read them out.
Okay.
Saya ada send soalan tu dalam group member ni. Kat YouTube tu. Kalau nak send dekat dalam
Okay, Miss Eliani, for the first question we got our viewers. So how often should a student update their resume, and what triggers an update?
Okay. Actually, for students, you only start to need your resume for your internship, I believe, before actually applying for your first job. So for your internship, like Iya just now, so you need to put it all your projects, your events that you have participated. I just suggest that maybe if you're having your internships during the third year, for your second year, the end of second semester, you can start to do a draft for your resume. Maybe at that time there's a lot of missing infos here and there, but at least you have a good draft. So when you start to getting nearer to the time that you need to apply for internships, you will not be, kelang kabut and just started to need to find a good template. So for students, start to have a good resume draft nearing the time to apply for your internships. So, but there's also students that have their internship at the end of their degree. So I also suggest during your fourth year or maybe before starting your final year, you can start to have your resume, because I believe you'll be very busy during your final year. And then as the one that you say, when should you update, is that every time that you have any new things about you. Like, that's why I said you need to have a draft. For example, there's always a student or maybe me myself, whenever I finish the event, okay, I remembered these details and that details. So I just go to write it down. Because if I waited maybe like 3-4 months, and then I also forget things that I've done during the events. What are the leadership skills that I have highlighted during the event. So have a draft from early on, and then just add on every time you volunteered or maybe you handle an event or anything.
All right. I hope that answers the question. And so on to the next question for Miss Eliani. What is ATS friendly resume?
Okay. Actually, I think ATS friendly resume is quite a recent thing, because during my first job application, I don't know actually what is an ATS friendly. I think that term is also not well known, but maybe 4-5 years back they started to highlight on this ATS resume, which actually companies started to have one software which will filter your resume before the actual person will read your resume, because it's very easier for big company like MNC, GLCs, and all that to have just this software, a one-time payment. So they have hundreds of applications every day. So they just downloaded everything into their career bank, and they submit the resume into the ATS software. So from there, the software will reject immediately the resume which is not ATS friendly. That is why we highlight it's very important to have an ATS friendly, which means that you need to know, okay, what is ATS friendly? It is very simple. That is why I highlighted Iyad resumes just now, because his one is an ATS friendly, which makes me maybe makes you wonder, so how can I know my resume is ATS friendly or not? First and foremost, you just see if your resume have icons or pictures that is unnecessary, or maybe too many colors. The resume will strictly be rejected in the ATS system. Or if you want more like confirm information whether your resume is ATS friendly or not, just simply look up online. We have job scan. Just write in job SCAN, one word, and then there's a link that you will ask you to upload your resume, and then from there they will tell you whether your resume is ATS friendly or not. And then that's also another like ways if you wanted to know your resume is ATS for resume review in job scan, then they will tell you, oh, this resume is not ATS friendly, but you are near there, so maybe you need to improve here and there. So from there you can change the thing that they suggested to you and re-upload, and then you can do it until the system already said that your resume is ATS friendly. And I also suggest to you, please check your resume first before sending out, because it's really waste of time if you keep sending out the resume that will be rejected by the system.
Alright, thank you for the answers. On to the next question. Okay. From an engineering perspective, what technical details should be included in a resume?
Mhm. Mm, if I can say, because I keep using Iyad's resume as a reference to all of you, he already listed out that he have engineering software knowledge, and then he